the oh, did I get two of these? Hang on, I thought I deleted that. Oh, good, move crash. All right. With Epic Works Studio, I am about to do a Inktober drawing for October for Inktober, and it's going to be Cthulhu. So that's going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to that, and I'm going to go into the my socials and drop this off and see if I can get wrangle up some people to kind of hang out and watch this shit with me. So let's go to Twitch, shall we? Twitch. Let's see, I don't have anything to drink. That's okay. I got done drinking a lot of stuff. Okay, so let's do this, and let me go update my social stuff. Hope you guys are all had a good one out there. I am chilling like a villain. All right, live now. Cthulhu. This is going to be fun. I have no idea what I'm going to do, although I do have some ideas. But, it should be cool, man. I've never drawn Cthulhu before. And it's something you'll notice that I didn't drag any pictures of other people's pictures of Cthulhu because I'll explain that in a minute. I feel like at this point, everybody kind of understands what that creature looks like in the general media, whatever. And one of the things that one of the reasons I do these drawings is to give my own interpretation of creatures and characters that appear in media, right? And because I like to put my stamp on things. Plus, one of the things that I really admire about Tolkien artwork, even though Tolkien kind of in a literary, and I'm going to go on Tolkien because it's relevant. One of the things, even though Tolkien his stamp on fantasy in general, literary fantasy especially, one of the things that he didn't do that I really admire from the period from the time when the books first came out all the way to the period up until the period when Peter Jackson made the movies was that everyone had their own accounting of what the Lord of the Rings characters looked like. Tolkien was he was very much like Lovecraft and very much like Dunsany. Actually, Dunsany was more of his inspiration than Lovecraft, although Lovecraft and Dunsany were kind of they have a similar type of inspiration, and I think even though Howard and Lovecraft kind of coexisted and communicated and shared a universe in some ways, I feel like Tolkien was more of a spiritual peer in a literary sense to Lovecraft than Howard was, and in the realm of Dunsany and that kind of um, vague, descriptive, dense way of describing something or writing about something that leaves a lot to the imagination and allows for artists to really interpret things in their way, and the reader too. And that's what I think those writers really left in terms of their legacy was this way of writing that was this really foundational and um, they're like the artist writer, really, those three guys. They are so, I mean, even Tolkien, for as verbose as he was, um, he left a lot to the imagination. And before Peter Jackson's movies kind of codified the way that elves and dwarves and everything looks, everybody kind of had their own deal. No two Lord of the Rings images really look the same. You had the Hildebrands. You had Angus McBride, amazing, mind blowing illustrator. You had who took a much more historical approach than say the Hildebrands. Um, then you had artists like Ted Nasmith, again, amazing. And then you had these even more out there, like graphic illustrators, like Hans Bach, even, and uh, who else was there? The original covers. It was a woman. Let's see, original. They were very interesting. They were very interesting. Barbara Remington. I mean, you wouldn't know. I feel like people aren't brave enough to show this kind of thing anymore. These are the images I'm going to show you. Barbara Remington, look at that. How imaginative and creative is this, right? I mean, compared to what people see where it's hard lines, really specific and um, realistic depictions of the Lord of the Rings. I feel like in some ways this captures Tolkien imagination and people like Dunsany more than say even Ted Nasmith, which you know is a realist painter. I think he's more of a landscape painter than anything else. But I'll drag an illustration in here. He's well known for being one of the people to depict the Lord of the Rings. Let me see if I can find his images are phenomenal. I mean, he's more of a landscape painter but he still rocks it with people. I mean, it's just he's a lot like Keith Parkinson. He and Keith Parkinson I kind of lump together because they had very, 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 very strong landscapes, but their people were not quite as strong. Still awesome, like their strengths were in the landscape. And let me just snag a quick one. Oh, yeah, there's a good one. That you don't see depicted much. Oh, it won't let me do it. Okay, hang on. Oh, here we go. Pretty classic Tolkien image. Oh, really? Come on now. Oh, really? Give me a break. This is not going the way I was hoping. Let me try this one. This is Hildebrand Brothers. And then I'll find one, the same image. Oh, Angus McBride. No shit. Okay. Hang on a second. All right, cool. Let me make sure this is gonna. Oh, it's not the image. Hang on. This is great, actually. Okay, cool. Because everybody picks this scene differently, but it's still very similar. I think the Hildebrands, in a way, kind of set the stage for the way this was going to appear. but, but let's see. Hang on. But you know what I'm saying. Everybody has their own vision of the Lord of the Rings, and that's really important. That's really important. I feel like that's something independent, right? That's something really independent that people latch onto and say, "This is my vision of the Lord of the Rings." When they had nothing. Oh, cool. Thank you. Thank you. Actually, I forgot to get I forgot to get the program. I forgot to get the other program. Shit. I'll do that next, like tonight. I actually meant to download it. I'm making a note. Hang on. I'm glad you stopped in because I had totally forgotten. I put it on my to-do list. Download video streaming software. I'll have to go with something free for now, but there you go. All right. So, but what I mean is that when people didn't have that Peter Jackson, Alan Lee, and John Howe kind of framework to latch onto that would kind of define the movies, it was fair game. But now it's like every media company, every gaming company, it's all that, right? Like it's orcs are a certain way, elves are a certain way, and I really, as much as I love the Lord of the Rings, the movies themselves standalone, I'm not a fan of that kind of single-minded, latching on to that one idea. But there are some beautiful painters out there who paint that way, so I can't like knock it totally because um, there are really, and that's exactly why but even then, because that's what I'm saying, D&D became like set that. But even if you look back, D&D took Tolkien obviously and ran with it, right? Like that was pretty much Tolkien in a role playing game, and but the way that all those people and races and things were depicted even back then between the different editions, like if you look at Holmes versus Menser, you had people like Larry Elmore illustrating Menser, and then you had people like the very out there and surrealist painter Errol Otis doing Holmes, right? And all that. I mean, they had these very vastly different visions of fantasy, even within the D&D realm. So outside of the literary side of things, the visual side of things was still pretty up for grabs, right? People were still saying, yeah, this is kind of how I envision fantasy. So I'm really a fan of when people kind of take initiative to kind of break the mold when it comes to the way to depict things. And I'm grabbing a few images. So, but my point in making that discussion and why I don't have any pictures of Cthulhu here is because I don't want to lean on the way that he's been described by others, right? Like I don't. It's already in my brain anyway. I've seen so many images and depictions and movies with that creature in it that it's kind of like, you know, it's just the way, know. Oh, here we go. Here's a powerful head Nasmith one. Okay. Wow. Okay, we're gonna try this. Probably hear my neighbors hanging out. Oh, where is it? Please tell me it's saved. Nope. Okay. But I'll grab what I do have just to show you the variety. All right. So where is that? But yeah, we have Barbara Remington here, which is pretty great. And then let's see, where is that? Let's see. Yeah, right. I mean, but the reason people don't is because it's they're afraid, right? Or they don't know any better. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, really. But I feel like at some point, well, I'm just gonna flat out say it because that's just what I believe, is that I think there is a uh, virtue in thinking for yourself and being a independent thinker essentially. So that kind of thing. I mean, here we have the Hildebrands, right? You see the heavy inspiration from like N.C. Wyeth and people like that, especially here in these people laying on the ground. Heavy N.C. Wyeth inspiration with these guys. And then you have this awesome dude, um, Donato Giancola, kind of a different take on it. I love this painting so much. And then Angus McBride. No, I don't. I didn't. Hang on. I cannot do this badly. I've got to get the actual. Got to get a good version of that because Angus is the man. He's one of my favorite illustrators of all time. This guy is ridiculously awesome. Let's see. But you get my point. I mean, you guys get my point. You know what I'm. You smell what I'm stepping in, right? Oh, come on. This is ridiculous. Hang on. I am going to snag this. See if it'll let me. There we go. Beautiful painter. I mean, this guy's such a crazy artist. There are no words to describe my respect for this guy. But yeah, I love this painting, and in general, Angus McBride's work. He's very tight, but he's also very expressive. Especially when it comes to the background and the how he depicts grass. Man, this dude is seriously the king of less and more and suggestion over just trying to define everything. I mean, man, this guy is a crazy person. All right. So anyway, uh, awesome. This is what I'm doing, and kind of why I don't have any pictures of Cthulhu. Why I do have the um, uh, description of him, because that is what we're going to be leaning on. So let me. Okay, do that. Post that and hang on one sec. Drop this in a few places. It's very fall-like outside, and not just in the, not just the fact that the leaves are turning brown, but it's very moody out there. It's kind of a good day to be drawing Cthulhu, really. It's moody and dark. It's a Lovecraftian night, for sure. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. And we'll go to there. And we're going to tweet that. We're going to go here. Some amazing illustrators out there. I'm always amazed and blown away at what people are doing. There are some really amazing, skilled people that the internet is just amazing. I mean, the internet is an amazing thing. I remember when I first really became big. I was at least young and old. I'm at least old enough to remember a time before computers really got big, and the Nintendo. I had a Super Nintendo when I was a kid, and I had. I remember when it first came out. Actually, my dad loved it. He was like, he would. It was fun. Like, we all played, with like this, right? We were young, and my dad though he would hold the controller like this, and he'd mash the button like this. Don't ask me how he like managed to hold on to the controller like that. It's like a magic trick. I have no idea, but he he played Mario to death, and it was crazy. All right, so let's see. All right, so I have again not gonna. I don't have any idea what I'm doing yet. I want something that's gonna kind of maybe spiritually relevant to the story. So yeah, he's described a monster vaguely anthropoid outline, but with an octopus-like head, whose face was a mass of feelers, a scaly, rubbery-looking body, prodigious claws on hind and fore feet. Hind and 4 feet. So 4 feet. Like he's not. He doesn't have hands. He's got 4 feet, like an animal, right? And long, narrow wings behind. So that's an interesting contrast because if he's so big and blubbery and amorphous and whatever, and his wings are like tiny, they're or at least not capable of holding up bulk in the air. So it already kind of establishes this creature that's not realistic, right? That is its description is not held together by the laws of physics, and because to have wings and to fly, you have to have thin bones, you've got to have hollow bones, or at least a frame light enough to be able to lift yourself off the ground. Like a human could fly, the amount, the size, the size of wings that would need to be on a body like us, like ours, to carry us into the air would be huge. I mean, it would be really large. And uh, there's also another description of Cthulhu that is it, Lovecraft describes flabby claws. I thought that really stuck out to me too. It's like he had flabby claws. Like, what is that? You know, like that automatically sets this really interesting vision in your mind, and it's really descriptive. So rather than just that's what's so beautiful about the man too, and about Tolkien and Dunsany. Dunsany is my favorite. I like Lovecraft, but Dunsany is by far, hands down, my favorite writer ever. But he uses that descriptive technique, and it's really effective, right? Just a few, like, he shows you. He doesn't tell you what you're seeing. It's amazing. So okay, enough of that. So let's. That's one I could see it. I got this one like stray hair that's like freaking me out. All right, so here we go. All right. So what are we gonna do? I have no idea what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna start. The way that I start drawing is a great way to actually depict something like this. And it's one of the reasons why I like that type of writing, because the way I start and what I like is uh, it's kind of amorphous. I mean, it doesn't. It's vague. It's not. It you look for patterns in the you look for patterns in the chaos, which is pretty much what that is. Oh, this is cool. Holy crap! I'm not gonna draw him. I'm gonna draw the idol. Oh yeah. Look at this. You've got his head with the tentacles coming out, right? Like all that. We're looking up at him. And then you have his arms and this big gut. But then it's I'm gonna do like some artists. One of the things they described in that Lovecraft described in the book was that as the time to resurrect Cthulhu came closer, people just started downloading information about him, right? Like artists just started depicting him randomly, right? Like they just got visions of this creature, and we're starting to just make it, right? So it's going to be one of those. It's not even going to be the idol, right? It's going to be some other artist's interpretation. And let's see. I kind of like this idea. I almost feel like I don't know. Maybe it will be real, like a real depiction of him. I mean, these look like fractured bits of earth and land and stuff, right? Like he's rising up out of the earth. This is interesting. Maybe we need to like drop down a little so I can mess with him. Um, I like though. Interesting. Like cliffs or something. Is that the ocean between those? And I loved the way that he was described grabbing the sailors off of the boat. He just like swept up. Now he was big, right? Like he was big, but I feel like the way that many people depict him in the books, like he's too big. Or in art, like he's too big. But I can't. That's my personal taste. It's like you can't say anything's wrong, right? It's somebody's vision. That's awesome, and I applaud individuality and being able to just do what you want to do. That's human rule number one is use your free will. I mean, it's there for and everybody has their vision and their beautiful way of looking at the world, right? Unique way. So, but me personally, I feel like it was too like he's too big, too big. Let's see. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, my brother is too. He loves Cthulhu. It's one of those things that's like I feel like if you've ever if you never read Dunsany, I would highly recommend it. Um, I feel I almost want to say that there's you either it's like one or the other in a way. It's one's horror and one's fantasy, like romance, adventure, and everything, and a little bit of that Lovecraftian stuff, right? Like Lovecraft, I think, was inspired by Dunsany heavily, and but you'll see a lot of Lovecraft in like the inspiration in Dunsany for sure. Dunsany. Oh, nice. That's cool. Yeah, that's. Oh yeah, look, I've got a. I'm a Tolkien fan. That's the thing. Yep, definitely have our passions for sure. What does she have? Like, did she get a uh like a how big is it actually? I guess the question. I almost want to pick some of that crazy. Maybe he's like stepping out onto into the ocean, right? He's like this isn't even. I like the idea that he's not really like maybe his 1 foot up. I always like the way he was described as having this bulk, just this mass. But I like the idea that he's not definable too. That's really important. There's something about that I want to capture. This indefinable quality. I mean, just the what I'm actually thinking of is the I'm thinking of him from the perspective of the sailors, like what that because you know how things happen when I mean for one he's associated with madness, right, with the unknowable and uh, true horror, and I often imagine like whenever we're faced with some kind of crisis, our brains kind of like do weird things anyway. So whatever they were experiencing when they saw this creature is just I that's that's it right there, buddy. It's like there should be one here as well, like overlapping each other, like snakes, almost like Medusa's hair. Yeah, they're folding on each other. Like this one goes there, and this one goes there. And those wings, thin wings. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's really cool. That's really awesome, man. Tattoos are really interesting. I've they're so personal. I mean, it's one of those things that's just I've always been really uncomfortable with the idea that I used to be, not so much now, but I used to be really uncomfortable with with the idea of someone getting my art tattooed on their body. Like that used to freak me out really bad. Um, but not so much these days. Just because like, people are going to do what they're going to do and if something means that much to you, I it's flattering. It's not, you know. flabby claws. That's really. And honestly, my favorite Lovecraft story. If you guys have a favorite, let me know. My favorite Lovecraft story is At the Mountains of Madness. I'm a fan of the like really crazy horror stuff, like that he wrote, but the Mountains of Madness, like right where it's at for me. That's like a perfect story for my sensibilities. It's very Dunsanian, to be honest. It reads like a older Dunsany story. Okay, all right. We're gonna put his other arm down this way, like he's grabbing his hand. Although I like the idea that he's like an animal. He's not like a. So maybe we'll have that hand kind of clutching. I also feel like arms should be kind of amorphous too. Like they're not. They're like flabby claws. It's still. Oh, good. Yeah, yeah. I love H.G. Wells. Yep. What favorite H.G. Wells story? Man, I really did. I join you there. H.G. Wells is amazing. Wow. I find that I'm thinking very specific people when I draw him. It's not like I'm not like trying to. It's just I'm like as I'm drawing him, I'm like dredging up memories of people that I've seen, and it's maybe. But I mean, that's how writing and art go. That's how it goes. That's just how it goes. You write what you know, and if you that's why it's good to see the world and see things. Oh, of course. Yeah, 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 yeah. War of the Worlds is great. Really great. Can you imagine having heard that for the first time? I mean, it's that's be crazy. You know, when Orson Welles did the radio show, I don't know if I like his legs being that humanoid. Although he is kind of described as being humanoid, but with like elements of other creatures. So I'm just gonna let the ink play with. I'm just gonna play with ink and see what happens. Oh, if you haven't listened to it, you should totally do it. It's awesome. All right, so I might end up using. mm, I need to make this quick. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna draw. I'm gonna make this quick, but I'm gonna be loose. That is my dedication to this. I'm not gonna be totally slavish to anything. I want to be very. Yeah, you're welcome. Orson Welles is crazy. He's really cool. I don't know if I want to do that. I like the idea of having this kind of vaguely octopus, right? Vaguely octopus shaped. So it could be any. Oh man, I didn't hear it. Like maybe these scales and stuff come down, and I love octopi or octopuses. That's right. That's the right term. I love octopuses so much. They're so weird and alien looking, and they're so fascinating too. I mean, as a species, they don't share much with any other animal. Like they're so unique, you know, and they're smart. They're really smart. So what a cool creature to have chosen as a as an inspiration for for his monster. You know, something that it's almost alien to planet, right? Octopuses are very strange creatures. Will suggest other things down there. I love drawing tentacles. If you guys haven't seen, I have a painting called. It's actually inspired by Lovecraft. Um, the Lovecraftian portion of the setting I'm working on for my Borderlands um, campaign world for um, Kickstarter that I'm slowly building. Um, there's a painting I made that was inspired by Lovecraft called the Sea Queen, and there are tentacles in it. Actually, I'll pull it up. I can do that. I'm sitting here looking at it. Let's see. Where's that? Yeah. This was a fun painting to make. It was really fun. Let's see. Yeah. There's an octopus. You can see his eyeball back there, but then it's all these tentacles surrounding her, and her hair is just kind of flowing out. But then there are all these other sea creatures that are, you know, poking their way through her seaweed-like hair. But you can still see the tentacles kind of writhing. But the eye of this big octopus is just kind of looking in. So sort of Dagon-like, right? That was a fun painting to do. I really enjoyed painting that a lot, especially her shoulder. Working on her shoulders, like getting that kind of smoky, like that edging there was fun, and painting the pearls. But yeah, that was a one. And I wanted creatures that looked scary too. So like sharks, octopus, barracuda, lionfish, the eel that looked threatening. Right. Whoop. Oh wait, we'll leave it like that. We'll have this coming down, but then we'll have this other tentacle, like this tentacle is coming over, coming like this. This tentacle is coming up like that. There we go. I love my tentacles. This is so fun. This is so fun. You can be so free with them, and they're gross, right? Like they're cool and they're kind of gross, but they're just cool too. They're just cool. All right. I want this one tentacle to be going over his hand, his arm. Yeah, like it's resting on his arm. But he has this kind of gross, like the flabby claws, right? Like his hands come up like this. And I think, and actually, what I'm thinking of when I hear flabby claws, it made me instantly think of, of Moto dragons. So if you've ever seen a Moto dragon, the claws are very interesting. That's why I drug one of them up. Where are they? They're so cool. Komodo dragons are so cool. Look at these claws. Like there's some when if you've ever seen them walk, they're flop. Like they're not very delicate like some lizards are. They can be kind of articulate, but Komodo dragons, they're so big that their claws don't. They're mostly digging too, so they don't need them to be like really delicate. They can just they claw the ground, so that's why they have these big thick claws. But when they hit the ground, it's like a kind of rubber suit. They just kind of flop on the ground. They kind of bounce around, you know. It's cool. They don't look real. Looks like a Godzilla model or something, or like a Godzilla suit, you know. So I'm gonna do something similar. I want those kind of floppy, but almost not even really, kind of nondescript maybe. Like maybe he doesn't even have wrists almost. It's weird. I have this. You get this, you know. Like, and how many claws does he have? You know. I mean, he's kind of squid-like, right? Octopus-like. Maybe that account. Maybe he doesn't really have bones. Of course, he would have wings, would he? If he didn't have bones. So we got that. This tentacle coming like this, and then no. I like this gut too. I'm gonna really have fun with this gut. Like it's if you like a lot of cellulite like kind of situation going on. Like he's like scaly too. He's not just like that's something I'm gonna suggest, but I'm also gonna have this kind of like he's big guy, right? And like his legs, even though that's kind of what I imagine when I see him is like you know like a squid that doesn't real or like an octopus like when you get them out of the water and some fish they are full volume when they're underwater and they're because they're floating around and their bodies are made for that environment, but once you take them out of the water they just kind of flop, and that's kind of what I imagine with him is this kind of floppy, like he doesn't need to be articulate, right? He doesn't need to be just so his either his magic or his mere presence is so abhorrent. It's so all encompassing, you know? Yeah, yeah, right? Exactly, exactly. Like why do they even need to be anything? Like they don't need to be anything. Which is why they're gonna kind of be this weird, shapeless, sort of shapeless thing. Yeah, evolution's a crazy thing, man. It's cool. It's really, really cool. and mutations, the way mutations work, it's really cool. I really, nature is a crazy, crazy thing. Have his leg kind of flopping down a little bit. He's on this throne of rock. Maybe give him a throne. That's what we'll do. Another tentacle coming like this, overlapping that maybe. Oh, barely touching that tentacle. I like that. Okay, we'll leave it open. And then this arm, I kind of like. I want to continue this idea that I've got going on with his head, with these like striations, kind of maybe a little bit of texture for some kind of scaly situation. I'm not going to be heavy with the darks here. I'm not going to go heavy with the values. I want this to be kind of loose, and I want the lines to kind of, I debated on doing something like that, on something dark and moody, but I felt in the end I should go for something that's um, looser. I'm going to kind of carry this on to his arms too. Like we got these fins, or like maybe it's part of his elbows or something. I like this idea of like his arms really foreshortened though. I like that. Maybe we'll make it bigger back here too, rounder. Okay. Like this idea of just like maybe whatever was here. I don't know. I'm not ready for that yet. I want his back to be really crazy. Like it's there's some if you uh you liked Orson, or not Orson Welles. You liked H.G. Wells. Are you? Did you like? Are you a fan of Jules Verne? I might actually. No. No. We'll see. We'll see. Wrong layer. All right. Okay. The wing that I might actually add some value to. We'll see. I like that there may be something here worth explaining here in terms of creating a interesting situation. Like they're out. So maybe still delicate. Give them some kind of claw, like a bat. You know, they call it kind of draconian dragon-like, right? So maybe I'll make him kind of bat-like. And he'll have those bones that go down through the. But this one's like moving past his arm. So the wings kind of bunched up there. Okay. Another tentacle. And I'm still not happy with this. I gotta figure out a better way to. I think I might just like let this like just work this. Maybe I'll put all the value here. I don't want to go too crazy. But I kind of like this idea of how that looks. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so then we'll go here. Do that kind of creates sort of other. I like this kind of rounder, whatever this is, rock or something. I'm allowing myself to just kind of play, see what comes out of it. Not be too. Oh, I know what I'm going to do. Water. Maybe he's on some kind of like this is some crazy ancient throne or something. Maybe this is before he was summoned again, before he wakes. Before the sleep is awakened. Some weirdo landscape. I'm going to kind of suggest things over here. I'm not going to be too adamant about details just because my focus isn't back here. I'm going to give enough to suggest a landscape. Maybe there's a desert. Oh, that'd be interesting. What's he doing with this leg? Like, where's the leg going? Oh, yeah. Well, here's what I'm going to do with that. Big claws. Kind of amorphous feet, too. Like, you're not really sure. Yeah, like his legs kind of fold over them. Like they're all bunched up. His toes are all bunched up in this little space. Well, this will be some sort of, I don't know what this is going to be. He's just in some landscape. I mean, who knows where he'd be really. I don't really want to put the Cyclopean architecture in there. Okay, but okay. All right. Make some lines here, thick ones to kind of pop his legs out. We'd find that arm a little more. There we go. Now, I like that open space. Yeah, I'm a romantic. I like Dunsany more than Lovecraft, but I respect Lovecraft quite a bit creatively, from a creative standpoint. The man was complex. Had a lot of shit going on in his old brain pan. Okay. can't say I agree with everything that he stood for, but he chilled out later in life, like most people do, you know? His stories reflected that too. Who knows where that tentacle's coming from? Kind of looks like it's coming from here, but I'm going to do this to make it look less like that. Tentacles everywhere. And then I'm going to have one. Oh, yeah, I'll have one come down this way. And kind of. Over leg, maybe. I like that. Kind of squeeze in there. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. All right. And then, wow, I think that's done. Like, I hit a spot and I'm like, stop. My brain was like, Justin, quit. Cool. All right. Yeah, I think I'm done. I think that, like, that's it. I mean, maybe. Was missing something? I think I really felt like I should stop. And I listened to that. What am I missing? Maybe I'm texture on his legs. His leg. Ooh. Okay. I gotta stop. I gotta stop. There's a sweet spot for sure that you hit. And it's definitely a point of overworking at a certain juncture. If like that hand's a little like this, a little sloppy over here. So I'm clean this up, and then call it quits. fine. I might define just a little bit more, but not by much. There we go. Okay. Oh yeah. Let's put one of his claws. Like he's got one of these just up here. It gets, and his other leg is just kind of digging in at some weird impossible angle. His other foot is up, but we can't see like all the claws. Just a few. Okay. All right. Then yeah, I'll call that quits. That's it. That's it. I knew it. That doesn't happen a ton. There's like a certain point where you go, yeah, that's it. And that was it. I can keep working on this, but it's just gonna, yeah, it's not gonna make it any better. Okay. Yeah. Whatever I do here is just gonna, yeah, it's just overworking. Labor point. Okay. Cool. All right. That's it. Thanks, guys. That was fun. I've never done Cthulhu before. So that was a lot. That was pretty rad. And yeah, that was cool. It was fun. I'll post this up, and you can watch this stream back at Twitter, Twitch, or you can download, or you can watch it over on YouTube once it's posted. So thank you guys very much for hanging. I really appreciate it. This was totally fun. So let me. Sometimes I go rework into these when I'm done, but I'm gonna. Wow, I really do think of like one specific person when I work on this. Oh, huh. Right. There we go. And oh, you know what I do? as long as his eye is still like, we'll do that to kind of, okay, okay, okay. I think that's cool. I wanted him to look like he was just this kind of amorphous, like he's just like every part of him is just difficult to define, even though he is defined. Okay, I think that's it. Shit. Okay. Okay. Cool. All right. That is it. I prom. Actually, I don't make promises. That is a strict rule of mine. I do not make promises. I say I will do the best I can. No promises. I'm gonna pop that knee forward. Okay. All right. Cool. All right, man. Done. That's it. All right. All right. I gotta call it quits. All right. Have a good night, guys. I will talk to you later. Bye.